Hi, everyone. I'm Rabbi Shira Stutman, and I am thrilled to be here this evening to welcome you to the 2022 Americans for Peace Now Gala, where we'll be celebrating our movement champions. I am joined, as you can see, by my co-host, I guess both for this evening and also on our podcast, also a proud APN board member, Joshua Malina. We have an incredible lineup of musical performers and speakers. So we hope you stay with us through the whole ride this evening. Welcome.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Hello. Hi, Rabbi Shira. Hello, virtual kahal of APN supporters. So on our Chutzpah podcast, we start every episode with what we like to humbly call shmying around. Correct me if I'm wrong. Shmying around is Yiddish for shooting the breeze, right? Maybe shopping, but not committing to a purchase.
I think that's true.
Easing our way in.
Yeah.
So with tonight's virtual audience, with their indulgence, let's shmy around. Let's ease our way in, and then we'll get to the heart of the matter, the good stuff.
Okay, what should we start with?
What do you got? You tell me.
I was thinking that we could start with the elections, but then I feel like that's not what they brought us here this evening for. Like I feel like we're supposed to be
around. That isn't a light.
Yeah, no, that's like we're like the Joan Rivers Aleha Hashalom of the evening, not like the Wolf.
Although breaking Bolsonaro is out, we can at least say that.
Oh, look at that! All right, there's our quantification of the evening.
Starting with a good piece of news, personally.
So I think if I am going to channel Joan Rivers, and I guess I should ask you who you're wearing this evening.
Oh, nice! That's a very red carpet question. You are reminding me of when I was last asked this question when my career peaked, and I actually attended the Emmys 18 years ago, a full 5 years ago. Who am I wearing? Up top, I'm wearing headphones by Sony, sweater by James Purse, and down below I'm wearing Garanimals clothing separately, which is the beauty of being on Zoom because you can't see what I'm wearing. Whom are you wearing?
But I feel like Garanimals is like a very 1980s reference. Like I'm wondering if the Gen Zers, but who knows?
Well, I'm a very 1960s person.
Who am I wearing? I'm wearing. This is what we call Sunday rabbi chic. It's like the outfit that takes a rabbi like from a baby naming to a board meeting to making dinner for her family to a gala. I think I got it. It's fine, right?
Gala. Which are we going with? Gala or gala?
I don't know, Josh. What did they teach you at Yale?
Oh, nice. Thanks for working in my alma mater. And is it Zoom Gali Gali or is it Zoom Gali Gali or Zoom Gali?
All right, moving on. So, Josh, you're a board member of APN. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. Well, okay, we're going from schmying into the serious stuff. I am a newbie board member, delighted to have been asked. I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm not sure I belong here, but I'm thrilled to be a part of APN. I will say that I have a deep and abiding love of Israel, as does everyone that I've met who works with or supports APN. There are those occasionally who would depict us as something less than a pro-Israel organization. That offends me deeply and upsets me because Ahavat Yisrael, love for Israel, is certainly one of the core uniting features of an APN supporter. We are American Jews who want to see Israel more fully realize the democratic ideals on which she was founded. We want to see a two-state solution, an end to the occupation. And so it's an organization that really speaks to where my heart lies, and I'm thrilled to be on the board.
Yeah, I'm thrilled you're on the board too, representing Chutzpah. You know, given that you and I met on a trip to the West Bank, I feel like it's especially meaningful for us to get to co-host this event this evening. And I guess I want to remind. It is true. It's actually quite lovely. I want to remind people before we sort of dive in, sort of what the goals are of the Gala that we're like participating in this evening. You know, of course, we want to raise awareness about APN and also about the important work that it does out in the world and for the world. Also, we're going to try to raise some money, right? That's one of the things we need to do in order to do this work.
And thank you to everybody who donated so that you could watch tonight's. There will be further opportunities to donate more.
That's exactly right. You will get the opportunity to do the mitzvah of tzedakah, of donating. But also, we're going to honor a few, and I don't know if I'm allowed, I'm just going to curse. We're going to honor a few badass women also this evening. Representative Jan Schakowsky and Letty Cottin Pogrebin, who are women that I certainly look up to, as I know many, many Americans and people worldwide do. So I'm really honored to be here this evening. And that's my
Yes, and we have
shmine.
some shmine done. Nice bow
Do
on
we
the
have more?
shmine. No, I think we
Bow
can
on
get right into our first guest, can't we?
Let's do it.
Right? Okay, we're excited to share with you now a song from Israeli hip-hop funk band, Hadag Nachash. Correct me if I'm wrong. That means fish snake in English. It sounds more poetic in Hebrew. Hadag Nachash. Not to be confused with Nahag Chadash, which means a new driver. Anyway, they're one of Israel's top bands. They provided the opening theme that we use for our podcast, For Chutzpah. That's a song called Lazuz, and here they are with another song. Ladies and gentlemen, Hadag Nachash.
Hello all, what's up? We're Hadag Nachash. Very proud to be part of the donation evening for Americans for Peace Now. Check out these songs, Odach Echad, One More Burner, and the Kol Yistader. Everything will be alright. Peace in the Middle East. Peace now.
עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, דממה בוכה יצא כל שבר. עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, בצעקות אבא שומעים מכל עבר. בן אדם, למה זה לבך כמו קרח? האם נהנה אתה להיות לרוצח? אוזניים השומעות איומים מפיך, מדוע תדבר כך אני אחיך? כל צד טוען שרק אצלו האמת, כל יום שעובר עוד חף מפשע מת. הורג אנשים לא אכפת לך כלל, לראות בבני אדם איך אתה מסוגל. אמא כואבת ועוד ילד יתום, המדרכה שוב בצבע אדום. החיים חשובים הם מובא לערך, רצח והרג זו איננה הדרך. עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, דממה בוכה יצא כל שבר. עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, צעקות אבא שומעים מכל עבר. ילד, מה קורה לך? איך השתגעת? באיזה מצב אחי תראה הגעת? לא מעניין אותך, הכל כבר מותר, בעיניים שלך מבט נופל וקר. תחשוב על העתיד ועל יום המחר, לנסות ולשנות, אף פעם לא מאוחר. כל עם ישראל די לכל הלילות, לא רוצה לראות עוד בן אדם שימות. נגלה רחמים, נגלה רחמנות, במקום להתחמם נגלה חמימות. כל דם שנשפך מות ירשום על ריקנות, ובעד ארצנו טוב לחיות לא למות. עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, דממה בוכה יצא כל שבר. עוד אחיך ירד אל הקבר, צעקות אבא שומעים מכל עבר.
לא אצולה ורחוק מהאליטה, אין לי שום שליטה איך לשנות לטובתי את השיטה. הממסד מתעטף בתוך חומות של בירוקרטיה בלי אמפתיה, מנצל את הסיטואציה. יכול לקרות להוא, יכול לקרות מחר גם לי, זאת המציאות הכי לא סרט בדיוני. מגן דוד וחצי שרה, למרבה הצער מצליחים רק את הפער, חיים ביחד על אתר. זוהי האירוניה, זיופה של הסימפוניה, חוסר היכולת להגיע להרמוניה. למרות כל הקשיים את הטוב אני זוכר, אם אני בבלבלה מיד אני אומר, אני יודע שהכל יסתדר. היו זמנים קשים, בסוף הכל עובר, על כל מה שלא יגיע נתגבר. ניפול על הרגליים כמו פטר, אני יודע שהכל ישתפר. היו זמנים טובים, יהיו טובים יותר, בעוד רגע הכל יתחבר. כן, ככה זה בסוף הכל עובר.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah.
What a song. Those are some pointed lyrics. It's a beautiful
I
song.
feel sometimes music just says what we need to say, just like from
Yeah,
our
it cuts
hearts.
to the heart of it.
Now we have the pleasure of introducing our first two speakers. Josh, over to you.
Yeah, very excited. First, we're going to start with my friend, the multi-talented, multi-named Michael Ian Black, Nate Schwartz. By the way, you can't hide from us, Michael. Michael is a thoughtful and accomplished writer. He's a brilliant stand-up comedian. And if I'm totally honest, he's a decent actor, just decent. He appeared with me. Look, he's a friend. I'm gonna say it like it is.
Totally
He
fair,
appeared with me in a
honest,
web
Josh.
series. He appeared with me in a web series called Backwash that the New York Times called aggressively unfunny. Look for it online. So yeah, up first we're going to hear from Michael Ian Black, and then
Afterward, we're going to hear from the co-founder of Shalom Achshav, Peace Now in Israel, Janet Aviad.
Hi, this is Michael Ian Black, actor, comedian, author, huge Jew. Thrilled to be a part of this APN Gala. Congratulations to Letty and to Jan, and congratulations to you for getting, I guess, the fourth best cast member of The West Wing to host your gala tonight. I am a supporter of APN's mission to bring people together. I mean, the thing with Israel and Palestine, like, let's just figure it out so that they, you know, these are two people who like to yell. Can they just yell at each other in peace and at themselves and at the world? This is, we share so much. We are a yelling people. We are a complaining people, and so are they. And so I just feel like, God, there's so much that unites us, and I support APN's mission to bring people together. And congratulations on this extraordinary evening.
Good evening, dear friends. This is October 30th, 2022, a very important date because it's 2 days before the Israeli election results are known, and about a week and a day before the results of the American elections are known. It is extremely fitting that we meet together now, on the 30th, and reconfirm our commitment to the organizations with which we work on the issue of peace in the Middle East, justice and equality for all. I have known Americans for Peace Now since it was founded, and admire the efforts, the great efforts of its leaders and its membership over all the years. Similarly, I've had the privilege of working with Shalom Achshav for many, many years. We are people who are all bugged, as it were, with a commitment to justice and peace and equality, and cannot live in a situation in which injustice, inequality, and lack of peace or violence is the situation, and that situation is created and exists and is maintained in our names. So no matter what the election results are, we recommit ourselves to continue to work together. I know that Letty, as she's been active and centrally active since APN was founded, will also be with us in our work in the future. I remember the wonderful house meeting to which I was invited by Letty and Bert at the very beginning in the early 80s in their apartment when we planned an assembly at Columbia University in which Faisal Husseini and Yael Dayan spoke together. Ever since then, Letty has been active. Thank you very much to Letty. Thank you very much to all of you. Good night.
fantastic. Michael Ian Black showing us why he's a stand-up comedian and not a diplomat. And then I loved more seriously what Janet had to say. No, I'm not saying he's wrong about any of it, but
There are young people.
Janet makes a very good point. Who knows what the next few days hold in terms of Israeli and American elections, and regardless, it's a time to double down on our commitment and to our goals. And one of the things that I love personally about serving as a new APN board member is the opportunity to learn from political leaders, unlike Michael Ian Black, political leaders in our community who put themselves on the line every day, people who put themselves on the line in their quest to move the process of peace forward. Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky of Chicago is one of those brave and effective leaders, and we are pleased to be able to honor her this evening.
Yes, we are. Congresswoman Schakowsky has been serving the people of Chicago since 1999 and has been an active force behind so much of what happens around the U.S. relationship to Israel and Palestine. We are delighted that Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal is here with us tonight to introduce Congresswoman Schakowsky and present her with the APN Congressional Champion of Justice Award this evening.
I'm Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and I'm honored to represent Washington's 7th Congressional District in the House of Representatives, where I also serve as the proud chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. First of all, I want to congratulate and thank Americans for Peace Now for all the successes and incredible work that you've done and continue to do. And I am so thrilled to have the opportunity to be joining you all today as you honor my friend, a Progressive Caucus Executive Board member, and our incredible progressive leader, Representative Jan Schakowsky, as your Congressional Champion of Justice. Representative Schakowsky is an incredibly effective leader who always uses her voice and her platform to fight for what is right. She has a deep moral center from which she governs, and she has consistently shown us what it means to organize for a better world and to take tough votes for justice and peace and human rights. She has been a guide, a mentor, and a dear friend to me in Congress, helping us to build a stronger caucus that serves the causes of peace, equity, opportunity, and freedom. And I am so proud to serve with her and to every day support her leadership in Congress for peace here at home and abroad. Thank you to each and every one of you for the work you do to prioritize peace and to push towards a two-state solution, one that establishes a Palestinian state coexisting side by side with Israel in peace and security. And congratulations, Jan Schakowsky, on receiving this wonderful award from Americans for Peace Now.
Pramila, I am so honored by that introduction and your leadership, and I just want to thank you so very, very much for what you said, but more importantly for all the things that you do. So I am really thrilled and honored to receive the Congressional Champion of Justice Award from APN, an organization that I have such incredible respect and appreciation for all the work that you have done that certainly has made my life easier and better. In particular, I want to say a special thank you to APN's president and CEO, Hadar Stutman, Suskin, who's been such a really such a help to me. I call Hadar a lot to get advice and clarification, and I'm sure many of you do as well. So Hadar, you've been a great and important friend. And I also want to thank your board chairman, Jim Klutznick. Jim and I go way back. By the way, his wife and I went to high school together, so we've known each other for a very long time. And you also have always been there for me and for the cause that we're fighting so hard for. So I really could not do this work without your support and the support of all the grassroots people, all the people, I'm sure many of you who are on this call who have participated so much in making the success of Americans for Peace Now. I do want to say that APN has been a major force in creating space in Congress for members to be staunch supporters, to be pro-Israel, and yet at the same time be able to, when appropriate, be a critic of the government of Israel. That those two things are not in the least contradictory. And it really is because of the groups like APN that we have been able to pass a resolution in the last Congress that put the Congress strongly on record as being in favor of a two-state solution. We were able to pass a very important and very clearly stated resolution. And APN has also been absolutely crucial, played a crucial role in helping me and with the leadership also of Andy Levin to gather support for the Two-State Solution Act, which now has over 40 co-sponsors, and we need more. And the bill boldly redefines the United States role in the peace process and further discourages annexation, settlement expansion, and anything else that would stand in the way of peace. So we have to continue this great work. I look forward to continuing to work with you. I am so grateful. We have to continue to fight for peace now, and to make the world possible, to make the Middle East possible for the state of Israel to live side by side in peace with a free and independent Palestinian state. That is our goal. I believe that we can achieve it. And, you know, we did talk briefly about the election that comes up just in a couple of days in Israel. And of course, the critical, maybe the most critical in decades in midterm election in the United States. And regardless, although I'm an optimist, I think we can win. And I am wearing a button that says, "Don't fetch, vote." So anybody, who is listening here, make sure that you are doing in the next few days everything that you can do, particularly here in the United States, to make sure. They say that it's within the margin of error. I like to say it's in the margin of action. So let's get going. Margin of effort. Let's work. So thank you, Peace Now. And I also just want to say I am so proud to be receiving an award here also with Letty Cottin Pogrebin, who I've read her books, and I really am so grateful to her for her leadership and all the beautiful words that she has written. So thank you all. This is a special night for you, but it's a really special night for me too. I'm very, very grateful. I yield back.
Well said. I hope that voting and then kvetching is also an option, because I try to do both.
Kvetching while voting, I think is great.
Yeah. In any event, mazal tov. Huge congratulations to Congresswoman Schakowsky, and why not to the entire Illinois 9th District. Thank you also to Congresswoman Jayapal for your introduction. Also, I don't know if you do this. My friends and I it's like an Oscars thing. We have an APN prize pool. And so I'm 1 for 1. I picked Congressman Schakowsky to win this award. So if Letty Cottin Pogrebin wins the second award, I will go 2 for 2 and win actually a tremendous amount of money for my friends.
So basically, it's about Josh.
Yeah, I try to make things.
Okay.
But now we have another friend of mine, a big
Thank you,
Hollywood author,
Congresswoman.
my friend Aaron Sorkin. Aaron is, of course, the multi-Emmy-winning and Oscar-winning creator of The West Wing, writer of The Social Network, Molly's Game, Trial of the Chicago 7, other great films. He's a director now too. He should only hire me. He gave me all my first breaks, though, in theater, television, and movies. And that may or may not be because I Heimlicked him in 1990 when we were participating in the Broadway Bowling League, and he was choking on a hamburger. That is a true story. Soon after that, I began to appear in everything he wrote. In any event, I'm delighted to introduce my friend and personal arts patron, Aaron Sorkin.
When my friend and colleague Josh Malina asked me to come be a part of Americans for Peace Now's gala, I knew I couldn't say no. Not only do I know and trust that Josh gets involved with meaningful causes, but I myself am committed to finding a path to peace between the Israelis and Palestinians, and APN's work in this realm is smart, timely, and important. I'm so delighted to congratulate the amazing author, journalist, activist, and godmother of the women's movement, Letty Cottin Pogrebin, for being honored tonight and for all that she does to further the path to peace. And Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky is a bright light in our government, pushing for progressive policies and working to make our world a better place. Both of you offer such wisdom and support to the cause. APN has been doing this work for over 40 years, and we still don't have a way forward to comprehensive, secure, and just peace. We're going to have to keep working together and find a way to bring our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to the work as well. Finally, I couldn't leave you without mentioning a little West Wing trivia in case anyone out there is a fan. Filming the episode that was supposed to take place at Camp David, the Burnham Wood, where President Bartlett invited the Israeli and Palestinian delegations for a round of peace negotiations, was filled with moments of high emotion as well as deep political strife. But there's one line that stands out and makes me think about why we're all here together today. The tragedy is that the Palestinians and the Jews are so much alike. All throughout history, no one has wanted either one of them. APN works to ensure that there is peace, justice, and national sovereignty for both the Israelis and the Palestinians. I couldn't be prouder to be here with all of you tonight, supporting and cheering on this righteous mission. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Aaron. And thank you, Josh, for bringing him to the gala tonight. Like
Now you
it
know
really
why
shows.
when I speak publicly, I usually have him write it. That was my mistake today.
Yeah, it turns out he's an okay writer. So he kind of knows
Yeah,
his
he's
stuff.
not bad.
Speaking about excellent people to hear from, I am honored to introduce Rachel Faulkner and Gina Green, who are two women who are deeply dedicated to their work in the Jewish community and in the social justice space. So they're going to talk about how their identity as Jews of color has an impact on their relationship to Israel-Palestine. And they're going to offer what we hope are just like some beginning thoughts on what we expect to be a much longer conversation moving forward.
Thank you, Josh and Shira, and thank you, Gina, for being in conversation with me tonight. You know, I've been thinking a lot about my relationship with Israel in prep for this conversation, to be honest, but more generally. And I've been thinking about how when I'm in predominantly Jewish spaces, as a Black Jew, it feels like sometimes I go through almost this like Zionist legit check. Like there's this assumption from other Jews that because I'm Black, I'm somehow less Zionist or more critical of Israel than any other Jew. And then I almost get the exact opposite when I'm in Black spaces. I feel like when I'm in Black spaces, the assumption is that I can answer for every action of Israel. I can be accountable to what Israel does or who Israel is in the global atmosphere. And I've been thinking about whether or not those experiences contribute to or shape my relationship with Israel. And I think like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I probably would say like they are my relationship with Israel, these questions that I'm constantly asked as a part of people like trying to identify me. But I think as I've seen America go through all of these threats to democracy and threats to human rights, my relationship to Israel as a Black Jew in particular has really shifted almost out of necessity. As I see my safety being threatened more and more in my day-to-day life in America, I see the need to build relationships with organizations like APN so that when the time comes, and I really feel like this time could come, that I get on a plane with my wife as a queer family, with my daughter as another Black Jew, and land in Israel, I will be safe there. That Israel will be the best place that I could raise a family that looks and is comprised like mine. And the only way I can do that is by holding Israel to the highest expectations I possibly can to uphold the values that I believe the country can. And so like, I'm just like wrestling with all of that. And it actually has so little to do with like the day-to-day almost of like the political landscape, and more about like, will Israel be what I need it to be when I need it to be that?
Yeah, that 100% resonates with me, like every word of it. And I think that against the backdrop of what we're seeing in the United States, right? Like living in this place, like you said, our rights, our freedoms constantly under attack, and thinking about Israel as a place where we could be safer. But for me, I feel like I literally just got back from Israel myself. I look this tired because I've been on a plane forever. And at the same time, that day-to-day life that Israel makes unlivable for so many people makes it really hard to see that the possibility of those ideals being lived up to. And that, I think, is really tough, to know that we want this place to be there, not just for Jews, but really like the country that we want, the Israel that we need. Like, I sometimes feel like we don't deserve it if we can't do right by every single human being who lives within and around those borders. And that's really, really hard.
Amen. 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 I want to say so much more, but I'm going to kick it back. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that it wouldn't be a night at my house without some tears in the background. So apologies to others if they heard Talia shrieking in not delight this evening.
We can't hear, but I'll let you tend to her and we'll kick it back to Josh and Shira. Thank you, Gina. So excited to continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both. Thank you to Rachel and Gina. Incredible. I'm struck listening to them by how many angles there are to think about issues that affect the Jewish community and Israel, and how much richer the conversation is when we open up ourselves to other perspectives, which is something that we did on the trip where we first met. We met on an encounter trip, another wonderful organization, a trip to Israel, Palestinian territories, where it was all about experiencing a new narrative and experiencing other voices. And that can only lead to good. And who would have thought then, though, that we would be podcast co-hosts and hosting tonight for APN?
I know. I'm finding myself feeling really inspired. We talk about Torah like with a capital T and a lowercase t. And so clearly Rachel and Gina have so much Torah to teach in this world. And I look forward to hearing more of it. But Josh, do you know who else has a lot of Torah to teach in this world?
I think I do.
President and CEO of Americans for Peace Now, Hadar Suskind. So it is my pleasure to introduce APN's remarkable leader to drop some Torah for us this evening.
Thank you, Shira. Thank you, Josh. It is really great to have the two of you hosting this evening's festivities, even if Josh did invite all of his weird friends. So I hope everyone will join me in raising a glass to our wonderful hosts. I want to thank all of you, all of our guests, for being with us tonight. We are thrilled to be here with everyone and honoring Jan and Letty for their extraordinary achievements and commitment to peace. And we are grateful to all of you for being part of APN. Whether you've been with us for 41 years or just discovered us recently, we could not do this work without you. Before I get to anything else, I want to thank the board of APN. I thank you for your partnership and for all of your support. Your commitment to peace and your commitment to justice is unmatched. And of course, this event, really everything we do, would not be possible without our truly incredible staff. I thank you all. But I do want to give a special shout out to Karen Paul for really pulling this together and making this evening happen. And I'm thrilled to congratulate our colleague and friend Madeline and her husband Ben on just this week welcoming the newest member of the APN family, or at least their family, the very adorable Theodore. You know, I've been doing this work for a long time, and it's not always easy. But when the challenges rise, when the situation on the ground seems hopeless, remember that many of you have been doing this work for far, far longer. You are the ones who've gotten us here and made what we do today possible. I thank you. I thank you for the years of dedication and commitment. We wouldn't be here without the work that you have done. We wouldn't be here without you keeping the flame lit, keeping the hope alive, keeping the voice of peace ringing in the halls of Congress and in our communities. And in those moments when that flame seems to flicker and when the task is most daunting, I'm reminded why we do this work. We do it not only for ourselves, but to honor the generations that have carried us this far. We do it not only for ourselves, but for newborn Theodore and all the generations to come. So I thank you all, everyone who is with us tonight. And I ask you now to help us do this work. You can make a gift using your phone by scanning the QR code, or you can go to peacenow.org and make a gift. The link is in the chat, hopefully. From all of us, I want to thank you. From those of us who brought us to this day, from those who will continue this work, I thank you. Please take out your phones now or use the link in the chat and make a gift to help. And now, what would a peace event be without our dear friend David Broza and his magical musical tributes to the better world that we all strive for? Thank you so much, David, for being part of our work tonight and for the work of everyone who dreams of a peaceful future. Friends, David Broza.
Hello, everybody. I'm David Broza, and I'm very happy to be here and to dedicate a song to Peace Now, Shalom Achshav. This is East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem. Same face in the Gaza is the same face I see out in California. Same face in Jericho is the same face I see out in Mexico. Same face in Tel Aviv is the same face I see out in New Jersey. So many places all share the same faces. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. The same face in the Haifa is the same face out in Nevada. Same face in the blues is a face out in New Orleans, singing the blues. Same face in London town, same face out in Kingston town. So many places all share the same faces. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. Feet in the sand, eyes to the sky, ears to the wall, say wondering if change ever gonna come at all. Spread a little love in the morning, spread a little love in the evening, spread a little love before you put your head down. Maybe when you wake up, the world will be a better place. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. Let's have everybody try to put these words together. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. One more time, everybody. East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Shalom, Salam. Yeah.
Boom.
Really, I just feel like we all
Amazing.
need a little bit more David Broza in our lives.
Yes, and potassium. Everybody needs a little more potassium. It's an important electrolyte. And you can get it not only from a banana, but from bok choy. A lot of people don't know that. Also, I scanned the QR code that Hadar gave us, and I got the menu from Pico Kosher Deli. So I hope that nobody else is having that problem.
That is
I hope
not
everyone
true.
else is getting.
There it is. The QR code is back for all of you. Prove Joshua Malina
I'm trying to
wrong.
tempt people to try it. That's all. I'm trying to lure them in. It's a classic scam.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. What Josh said. Second Avenue, whatever deli
Also,
it was.
I thought Hadar
Yeah.
did a great in that pre-recorded segment. He really made it seem like he was speaking to us live. I was really impressed.
He's a very busy man, Joshua.
He really pulled it off. And it's a shame that he couldn't be here tonight. Kidding.
A lot of places to be. Okay, can we move on, please?
Yes, two more guests.
Yeah, we have this chef whose name is Andrew Zimmern, who apparently likes to eat a lot of very odd food. So, okay, we're going to now introduce you to the next two guests. First, we get to hear from Andrew Zimmern, who sees food as a gateway to the language of peace. And apparently, immediately after recording this video that you're about to see, he ate the surprisingly kosher monkey-faced eel covered in aspic.
That can't be a real thing. Who does your research? I've never seen an eel with fins and scales.
Probably more substantive is once Andrew is done, we have a real treat. 5 close friends of our next honoree, Letty Cottin Pogrebin, will be joining us with a short montage of remarks to celebrate their dear friend. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Andrew Zimmern here for Americans for Peace Now. Welcome. I hope you're all enjoying tonight's event. I want to talk for just a second about how bringing people together is important. In fact, I believe it's our purpose on planet Earth. I've spent a lot of time asking shamans, mystics, shopkeepers, and cattle ranchers, sheep herders, and fishermen from all around the world about what they think our purpose on life is. And our purpose here on planet Earth is to help and love each other. And bringing people together achieves that. I like to do it over food. I've never had a meal with somebody and got up afterwards and liked them any less. Well, once or twice, but there was like a contractual thing on the table, literally. But coming together is the biggest part, in my opinion, of what's available to us as an opportunity to accelerate the movement for peace that we all need to be taking an active role in. One of the things that I think is great is to actually literally break bread with someone else, select some food that belongs to many, many, many different cultures, and you realize between this piece of flatbread and this bowl of hummus that so many countries lay claim to this food because they came from a time before lines on a map were created by people who didn't even live in those countries. Think about that for a second. This food is the food of so many cultures. And if we can share the origin stories of a wonderful flatbread, regardless of what you call it, and an incredible chickpea puree, no matter what you call it, then can we all find other places, other things that we have in common, other pieces of rhetoric, negative rhetoric that we could abandon and stop defining ourselves by our differences, but instead come together for a more peaceful future for our friends, our families, our children, our grandchildren, and their children after them. It's just food for thought. Thank you.
This award is certainly going to the right person. I've known Letty for 50 years, more than that. And I've seen her at work, in public, and at her dinner table. And I've always seen her concerned with making things better for other people. Letty has worked all her life for peace, justice, and equality, and she's done it happily and freely, not for any rewards. A rabbi once said that the reward of a mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. I think one thing that means is that it feels good to do good. And if that's true, then with all her mitzvahs, Letty must be one of the happiest people alive. Congratulations, Letty.
1 minute is not enough to express the deep love and admiration I feel for you, dear Letty. You have been in so many ways a mentor, and a guidance for me since my first days as Consul General in New York. Soon enough, we found out that we were born around the same time, that we shared similar views and values. Those were days of hope. You became my friend and remained so even in difficult times. We shared our relation for the Oslo agreements, our care for women's rights, our shock and grief when Prime Minister Bean was assassinated. I admire your creativity, your writing, your wisdom and honesty, your sense of humor, your commitment to peace. I'm proud to be counted tonight as your friend.
If you want to know anything about the life and times and talent of Letty Cottin Pogrebin, all you have to do is Google her name. And then once you're done reading, 2 days later, you'll have a pretty good picture of why she's being honored tonight and who this extraordinary woman really is. Writer, lecturer, activist, author, Jewish scholar, devoted wife, proud mom. Well, it's just amazing, really, that all those skills and passions can be packed into a body that's the same size as it was when she was in junior high school. I first got to know Letty when I asked her to come on as a consultant on Free to Be You and Me, the children's entertainment that my friends and I created in 1972. She lights upon a cause that moves her, inspires her, ignites all that wisdom and fire inside her, and she makes it her personal crusade. Or the dozens of NGOs, civic organizations, and countless boards she serves on, including Americans for Peace Now. She is the perfect embodiment of Maya Angelou's famous declaration, if you don't like something, change it. Dearest Letty, Phil and I send you a million hugs on this exciting occasion, and we congratulate you on this wonderful celebration of you.
It's a shanda, really, that this award has not been given to Letty years ago. Where in the world can we find somebody as dedicated, as committed, as witty, as funny, and yes, as devoted to Israeli-Palestinian peace and mutual understanding and respect for the other than Letty? I can't understand it, but I am totally proud and happy that it's finally happened. So Letty, congratulations. You have always been a model for many of us and for me personally. And I'm so happy that finally other people are seeing it and giving you the respect and the love that you deserve. Shalom v'todah.
I'm here to pay tribute to my dear friend, Letty Pogrebin. We have known each other for 50 years, and for all of those years, she has been devoted to the peace and welfare of both this country and Israel. She is a pioneer. She is a connector. She understands the crucial fact of international connection and individual kindness. And on both of those levels, I thank her, I pay tribute to her, and I'm very grateful that she is receiving this international recognition.
Wow. That was a lineup. I thought I had brought a good group of friends to the gala until I saw Letty's group of friends. I'm humbled. and how exciting to see Alan Alda and Marla Thomas together for the first time since Free to Be You and Me, the special, the classic album on which I was weaned. And then on top of that, add in Gloria Steinem. Very impressive. Thank you all for showing up, for your wonderful spirit, your years of activism, and the entertainment you brought us. It is an honor to be to share a virtual stage with these people.
Yeah, and some amazing Israeli activists as well. My jaw dropped with each person who came on the screen. It was really an honor to share the Zoom room with them. Now we get to introduce still more wonderful people devoted to peace in our lifetime. So I have the absolute thrill to introduce you to Minister Meirav Michaeli, the head of Israel's Labor Party, as well as a journalist, a broadcaster, an activist, a feminist. Meirav is joining us to introduce our next honoree, Letty Cottin Pogrebin. We're going great. It is my honor to introduce Letty Cottin Pogrebin.
A Jewish head and a feminist heart, put it that way, or the opposite. They work both ways for me.
Letty is a celebrated writer, activist, and speaker, the author of 12 books, including Deborah, Gold and Me, and Getting Over, Getting Older. She was editorial consultant on Free to Be You and Me, and she makes the crispiest potato latke on the Upper West Side.
She's paying attention all the time. Letty has a journal with her, and Letty takes copious notes.
One of us said to the other, how can you do this? How can you keep all this going? And the other said, boy, that's the pot calling the kettle black. She's pot and I'm kettle.
I consider her to be, in the Jewish tradition, like a tzaddik, a righteous person.
She doesn't really worry about who she's going to offend.
I went with her down to Washington. I met Gloria Steinem, and she was starting Ms. I then became part of Gloria's enterprise, and I was with Ms. for 17 or 18 years. And I've been just a writer and activist ever since.
I'm thrilled and honored and love that we are the vehicle, have been for many years, that Letty is active in fighting to see an Israel and a Palestine that is worthy, that the people of both countries deserve.
I just felt I have to do something. I can't stand on the sidelines. And I liked what APN stood for.
She looks for justice for the Palestinians. She's particularly strong on it. It keeps us focused.
The conversations are extraordinary, but there's also a deep love and friendship among us.
I embrace this issue full scale, I think, because I totally humanized the other.
Letty is extremely critical of many of the policies of the State of Israel, but you never doubt that it is coming from a place of love.
And I needed to be in a space to work these issues out and feel incrementally that we were doing small steps toward mutual coexistence.
I mean, there's so many advocates who shoot from the hip and don't kind of do their homework. And I would say Mom is just tireless in her learning, and her expertise comes honestly.
You and Bert are about to celebrate your 59th wedding anniversary.
Loved and loves her family.
I want to say thank you for having daughters. I didn't do that. They were fan-fucking-tastic.
And my parents were involved in the most loving way, which is that they really cared.
And reading to us, I have great memories of her voice at night, reading E.B. White and
Wrinkle in Time,
Cricket in Times Square.
And she was incredibly patient with me and supportive.
Our children are kind of enthralled to her. And,
enamored.
Yeah. And
they are her biggest fans.
Yeah, she's a hero.
She's just very good at connecting with me and explaining certain topics that are very complex.
She just does not give up.
She is a complete dynamo powerhouse.
She is really bright and fun.
Her hand goes up, you know something's coming your way.
I think it feels good to be around Letty.
She makes everything special.
It's like the Talmudic saying, it is not your obligation to complete the work, but nor can you desist from it. I think that really encapsulates Mom.
Arise. Arise. Don't take any crap. You won't die if people make fun of you. You won't die if people disagree with you. You won't die if you make a scene and you make trouble. You'll end up making a difference.
Beautiful. What a family.
Wow. Oh my God, I should have known that there would be even more people to celebrate Letty this evening. It really is such a blessing, just not only her work out in the world, but also in her own family. What an honor. How did we get so lucky to be here tonight?
Oh, I don't know how you got here, but I'm, as previously mentioned, a member of the board. So when Hadar asks, I must say yes.
Right. And these days where you go, I go as well. So it's like we're a package deal.
Oh, there you go. So I guess now I know how we're here.
So what do you think, Josh? Should I introduce Meirav Michaeli now? I think now is the time.
Now, yes. Now would be a better time than earlier.
I think this is it. Okay. So Meirav Michaeli, who is the head of Israel's Labor Party, she's still a journalist since 5 minutes ago, a broadcaster, an activist, a feminist, but she is joining us to introduce our next honoree, the extraordinary Letty Cottin Pogrebin. I just can't think of a more appropriate combination. Two women whose lives have been dedicated to feminism, to activism, and to making peace in Israel and Palestine. Friends, Meirav Michaeli.
Dear friends, dear Letty, it's wonderful to be with you tonight. I wish I could be there in person, but as you all know, there is an election here. Whatever the results, and we all know how high the stakes are, we will be together on a journey to promote our shared values and vision of justice and peace in Israel and with our neighbors in the region, particularly the Palestinians. I also want to congratulate my friend Congresswoman Jen Schakowsky for being honored tonight. Dear Congresswoman, your leadership on Israel, as well as your progressive leadership to strengthen democracy in all its aspects, is vital for us in Israel, not just for Americans. Two amazing, inspirational leaders. Dear Letty, from our first meeting, I knew that you would be the one who would travel this path with me, opening your heart and your home, sharing your ideas and your activism with me. And you never disappointed. As a founder of Ms. Magazine, you changed the opportunity zone for all women forever. Young women growing up today strive for the stars. Thanks to you and the revolution in thinking and being that you helped lead and inspire. Their aspirations drive their dreams. Your deep devotion to justice here in my part of the world is also fueled by a profound belief in equality. As a decades-long leader of Americans for Peace Now, you have helped those of us here in Israel to fight against a conservative tide and to fight for tzedek, the justice we so desperately need. Thank you, dear Letty. And thank you to all of my friends at APN for being the best of the American-Israel partnership. We have many struggles ahead of us. We will be there together, as always. Have a wonderful celebration of Letty and Jen tonight. Have a wonderful celebration of your determination, and let us hear your voices. Please let us always hear your voices. That's what friends do for friends. Now I must get back to work. I look forward to seeing all of you here in Israel as we continue this journey together.
Wow. Well, I'm very glad I'm wearing velvet and fancy earrings. I don't usually sit in this space, which is my study, and dress up. But I'm glad I did because I'm levitating now. I'm thrilled and honored beyond words. I can't thank each person separately, but I must thank my children and my grandson Zev, who represented the family. Thank you, Abigail and Robin and David, for your words, which always mean more to me than anybody else's. I am so grateful to my particular friends, Alan, Colette, Marlo, Nomi, Gloria, Kathleen, Deborah, and Meirav for introducing me. You're precious to me, all of you. I have a very short acceptance speech. Need my breath. A funny thing happened when I was admiring the beautiful award I was given. It's a piece of art in itself. I realized that in all the years I've been involved with Americans for Peace Now, I never actually focused on our name. So tonight I'm going to burrow in and deconstruct the words Americans for Peace Now. The pshat, the simple interpretation, is that the A in APN describes Americans, the people attending this Zoom gala, and others who support the work and principles of APN and Shalom Achshav in Israel. Back in 1978, when peace talks between then Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat were foundering, 348 Israeli reserve officers and combat soldiers, supported by public figures such as novelist Amos Oz, founded Shalom Achshav to press for a negotiated peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including the Palestinians. So the A in APN is for those of us who work in America to advance the goal of a negotiated solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. The P in APN is more complicated. P is for peace, shalom. But what do we mean by peace? Who defines it? The word appears in the Torah about 250 times, either as a greeting or farewell, or in the context of a relationship free of conflict, tension, etc., or in the sense of perfect tranquility, prosperity, completeness, and calm. To the rabbis of the Talmud, the pursuit of peace is a holy obligation on a par with the pursuit of justice. When I was chair of APN in the 90s, peace was in the air. In 1993, I sat on the White House lawn for the signing of the treaty between former sworn enemies Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat. I witnessed the blossoming of cooperative business ventures between Jews and Palestinians, educational exchanges, an end to the Arab boycott. Soon afterward, I sat in the Arava Desert watching Israeli Prime Minister Rabin and King Hussein of Jordan, former sworn enemies, sign a peace treaty on behalf of their nations. Since then, the world has stood by as hopes for peace have dissipated, evaporated, one might even say. Now all we see is renewed hostility, violence, and intransigence. And all we hear are myriad reasons why peace between Israelis and Palestinians is a pipe dream. APN disagrees. We believe both sides are sick of the rage and the fear, the bloodshed and the burials. We believe peace is the best guarantee of security for both peoples. We believe both peoples have a historic claim to and enduring love of the same land, and that they can find a way to amicably share it. We believe Israeli parents and Palestinian parents want the same things for their children: safety, justice, dignity, and a better life. APN also believes that organizing for peace at the grassroots is as urgent as encouraging negotiations among leaders. Eventually, we all know that this tragic 100-year-old conflict will end as all conflicts eventually do, with human beings sitting at a negotiating table, settling their differences by signing their names to a document. We may not be in the room where it happens, but APN believes we can make it happen. Which brings me to the N in APN. Some have ridiculed our name because of the word now. Given the current political climate in Israel and Palestine, isn't it naive to call for peace now, they ask? I say no one understands the political realities in the region better than Shalom Achshav and APN. However, the struggle for peace cannot be put on a shelf until all the stars are in alignment. Now for APN is a goad, a motivator, a call to action in the present. For those of us actively involved with APN, that means staying actively involved with APN, contributing our time and money, educating the American public on the issues, pressing the White House and Congress to make Israel-Palestine peacemaking a top foreign policy priority, insisting that Americans not turn a blind eye to Israel's expansion of settlements that make a two-state solution impossible, monitoring the erosions of Israeli democracy and Palestinian democracy, and preparing the ground for coexistence between both peoples. We Jews can't claim we don't know what's happening on the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. We can't be oblivious forever to the IDF's treatment of Palestinians under their control, the two-tiered justice system, the house demolitions, the preventive detentions, the tolerance for settler violence. The facts are there to be seen by anyone willing to absorb them. APN sees the facts plainly and works now to right the wrongs and prepare the ground for coexistence and shalom. My daughter Abigail bested me by quoting the same rabbinic commentary in which I had added to these remarks. It's from Pirkei Avot, which itself is a commentary on a line from the book of Micah. It says in full, "Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it." That to me is what our name stands for. APM does not wait until someday. We're doing the work every day. Now, we do not desist. In the spirit of this dedication to peace, I humbly accept APN's award. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Letty.
Yeah, beautifully articulated vision of peace and call to action.
Yeah, my heart is full and I am inspired to go out and do the work. So thank you.
Go for it.
Well done.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Wow.
So as I said, as a newcomer to the APN board who joined during the pandemic, I never had a chance to meet the wonderful Sid Topol in person. Sadly, Sid, a longtime APN board member and a member of many other boards as well, died last spring, alav hashalom. APN's former president and CEO, Deborah Dali, is joining us now with her recollections of Sid and his extraordinary contributions to the peace-building work of APN. And after we hear from Deborah, we'll hear some remarks from APN's board chair, Jim Klutznick.
How to describe our good friend Sid Topol? He was smart, he was funny, accomplished, persistent, loyal, and stubborn. He was always ready to make good trouble. We were lucky at APN that one of his strongest desires and life goals was to see a two-state solution achieved for Israel and the Palestinians. And we were honored and proud that Sid chose APN as one of the primary vehicles to impact that issue. If you spent any time at all with Sid, you heard him state, regardless of the topic at hand, "I just want to live long enough to stand on the White House lawn as the peace agreement is being signed." Sid never wavered from that desire, from his belief that it would happen, or from his tireless work to make it happen. Much has been said about Sid's many accomplishments, which are significant and enduring. Sid is among those who are most responsible for the cable industry in this country and for so much of the technology that we all use today. And yet he still referred to himself as the boy chick from Dorchester, where as a boy, he would go to the Jewish market with his father. They would load up the truck with fresh produce, and then they would drive around and sell it in the surrounding neighborhoods off the back of the truck for more money than they paid for it. He was an entrepreneur even then. Sid had an incredible memory, even in his 90s. And more than his accomplishments, he loved to tell stories about his early years, his long, full, adventurous life with his loving wife, Libby, the love and delight he took in his three daughters, Deborah, Joanne, Martha, and their families. Talk about felling. What meant the most to Sid, even more than the Red Sox, was when the whole family gathered and he could feel the enormity and the power of family and his family's commitment to the same beliefs that had guided his life, Lador Vidor, from generation to generation. After his family and fighting against injustice, what did Sid love? Good food, the Red Sox, and emailing. Sid was incredibly well informed. At 97 years old, he followed the news religiously, online, on television, in briefings, from Ori Near's fabulous peacecasts. And when he watched or read something that got his juices going, he was at his computer sending emails, massive amounts of them, to a massive number of people, including probably most of you out there watching this. Anything or anyone that violated his deep beliefs and expansive work on nonviolence, peace between Israelis and Palestinians, race relations, social justice, and progressive politics, or the Red Sox, generated a healthy volume of emails. And you were expected to respond. Sid did not just fetch. He walked the walk. He acted, and he expected those around him to act as well. And we did. Sidney Topol made a difference. I only wish that he had seen his dream materialize, that he'd been able to stand on the White House lawn as the peace agreement was being signed. I believe that the best way that we can honor Sid's memory is to do everything within our power to bring about the peace that he so wanted to see happen, and to keep him in our hearts as we make good trouble, particularly over the next week.
Good evening. I'm Jim Klutznick, the chair of Americans for Peace Now. I thank all of you, our guests, our speakers, and performers, and our wonderful hosts, Shira and Josh, for being here this evening. I want to offer my congratulations and thanks to our two honorees and good friends, Letty and Jan. Like many of you, I've contributed many years working on the quest for a just peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Looking back over the past 30 years, however, what appeared promising at first in 1993, like a mirage, has devolved from hope to illusion and despair. At APN, we are working to change that narrative in order to encourage our government, both the administration and Congress, as well as the American people, to engage and encourage the protagonists of this current sorry narrative to change, to achieve a just peace predicated on sovereignty of both peoples, however that's achieved. Our dedicated board and staff under the leadership of Adar do this in collaboration with our colleagues at Israel's preeminent peace movement, Shalom Achshav. We hope you were encouraged and inspired by what you experienced here tonight. We thank you for your continuing support and hope you will encourage others to support us as we strive to grow, strengthen, and solidify a movement to change the current narrative in order to achieve a just peace. It's an immense challenge, but together we can build and empower that movement with dedicated and determined activists, both in the region with Israelis and Palestinians, as well as here in America. Again, I want to thank you all for attending and participating in our gala this evening, with special thanks to Letty and Jan, tonight's sponsors, my dedicated fellow board members, Adar, and our great staff. Thank you and good night.
Well, Josh, we are coming to the end of the evening, but it seems that we have one more Foge, friend of Josh, to introduce.
Ah, yes. In fact, we do. My goal was to find somebody with more of a potty mouth than you have, because if anybody out there in our audience listens to the podcast, you know that the rabbi gets bleeped minimum once an episode. True or not true? I think I've
It
never
is
been bleeped.
both true and unnecessary to talk about at this exact moment, but fine.
Fair enough.
Accept it.
Moving on. Without further ado, my friend who really needs no introduction, and so I won't bother giving her one. It's comedian, activist, actor, podcaster, and general provocateur, Sarah Silverman.
Hi, Americans for Peace Now. It's your friendly neighborhood Sarah Silverman saying thank you for all the work that you do year in and year out. You're amazing. I appreciate you working to have a peaceful two-state solution in Israel. Good grief. Why is this so hard? Let's just King Solomon this shit. Anyway, thanks for all the beautiful work you do. I believe in you, and I hope that someday we can see some peace in the Middle East. You're so good for the Jews and Arabs. Huh. I usually just hear the phrase good for the Jews. It's so great to have a program that is so good for the Jews to combat Josh Malina, who's so bad for the Jews. Thanks.
Is that really the note we want to go out on?
I knew yes.
I knew I should have looked at her video before you played it live. Nonetheless, there it is. We'll give her the final word. We have made it to the end. I think we've done it without any major mishaps. I didn't prank you. I thought about, not that we're working from a script, but I thought about erasing parts of the script as you read them. That would have been mean. I didn't do it. I withheld.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Josh. That's so
we've made it
kind of
successfully
you.
to the end.
But listen, wait. Before people jump off, I feel like we can't close things out without telling everyone one more time how grateful we are to have been part of this celebration and part of Americans for Peace Now, and to get to celebrate Letty and Jan. I feel like this is a real first name kind of organization, so I'm getting used to it. But just to say, like, we need APN's strong and fearless voice as we wade through some of the most challenging waters in search for a true peace. So you see that QR code. That is not for someone else. That is for you.
Hit that code now. And as I said at the beginning, I'm very grateful to have joined the leadership of APN. I will do everything I can to amplify their voice. That being said, I'm particularly grateful to have a leader like Hadar who understands the power of a good tweet.
Well said. Before you all go, we just want to thank you one last time for being here this evening. Remind you to make a gift to support the work of APN, and don't leave before you listen to our final musical number, which is the fabulous Jerusalem Youth Chorus. Will see us out this evening. Thank you for coming and spending the time together. See you next year.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Take one. All right. And play back.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna make a change once in my life.
All right, left side, go.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck. Some nights I call it a draw. Some nights I wish that my lips could build a castle. Some nights I wish they just fall off. But I still wake up, I still see your ghost. Oh Lord, I'm still not sure what I stand for. Oh, what do I stand for? What do I stand for? Most nights I don't know anymore. Oh, 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 oh. I guess it's true, I'm not good at a one-night stand, but I still need a love cause I'm just a man. These nights never seem to go to plan. I don't want you to leave, will you hold my hand? Oh, won't you stay with me, cause you're all I need. This ain't love, it's clear to see, but darling, stay with me. And some nights I'm scared you'll forget me again. Some nights I always win. The summer just began, a broken battle tale, and I was out dream. They follow each other on the wind, you'll see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with a man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
No, 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 no.
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you're broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. Well, it hasn't been your day, week, your month, or even your year, but gonna make a change for once in my life. A better place. Take a look at yourself and make a change. Oh, stay with me to the rest. Oh, here to stand up. Stay with me to the rest. Here to stand up. Stay with me to stand up. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
עיניי פקוחות מבלי לראות את השמיים, מבלי לראות כחול של ים, ירוק של עץ, מבלי לשמוע מנגינות יפות כמו פעם, מבלי לראות את הדברים כמו שהם. אני נושם, אני חבוק בזרועותיי, אני רואה בך בית חם ומשפחה, ואור בהיר בחלונות שאת פותחת. אני חופשי אך אין לי מנוחה, ילדים קטנים, ילדים גדולים, ילדים טובים או ילדים רעים. את יודעת אמא, כולנו ילדים של החיים.